As February rolls to a close, Bali puts on its finery to celebrate the new year with ancestral traditions. For visitors avid for the authentic, it's a thrilling moment in island life. Mystical, little-known Bali comes alive. Follow us backstage, if you will, for an insider's view of this very special and very festive time of the year in Bali. This legendary island's secrets and treasures are not limited to its famous beaches. It's a shame that many tourists leave Bali having seen little more of the island than the legendary but overpopulated sandy beaches of Kuta. Kuta's exotic flavor is somewhat tempered by the small, sun-worshipping, wave-surfing, bar-hopping Australian community. Kuta has the island's longest beaches. The patch is only a few square miles, but it attracts the largest number of tourists. While the beaches seem vast, they frequently feel overpopulated too. Kuta is unquestionably the most visited spot on the island of Bali. City life is also pretty intense. The main thoroughfare is home to bars, surfing stores, and boutiques, all vying for the tourists' attention with their unbeatable beer prices and their TVs replaying Australian rugby matches. They're all keen on getting visitors to open their pocketbooks. But a few hundred yards away, there's a different side to the city. It's February, and Bali is gearing up for its New Year's celebrations. All the pre-festivity processions got underway several days ago. Dawn breaks and the processions begin. Villagers come down from the mountain to the seaside. For it's here that the ceremonies must take place. There's a precise order and timetable for each village. Every detail is carefully planned. The village mayor and aldermen have decided who'll carry the pratimas, religious objects, from the village's temple to the shore, who'll take care of the offerings, and who'll dance on the beach. It's also the big day for the orchestra. The musicians have been rehearsing for weeks. Aside from their administrative and political responsibilities, mayors also have a religious role. There's a relaxed atmosphere to the rituals, but the fervor of the priests and the faithful is almost tangible. In Bali, religion is a daily practice that sets the pace of life. The women's graceful dance of offerings, or pendant, is an expression of thanks to the gods. Here we're on the beach of Jimbaran, a short drive south of Kuta. This is where the narrow-necked Bukit Peninsula begins. The fish market here is a strategic spot. Fishermen and buyers meet here every day. This may look like a big catch, but the reality is that for 2 months, a powerful wind has hampered fishing and supplies are currently short. Fish from off the coast, giant shrimp, crabs, shellfish, they're all staples in Bali's suave and delectable traditional diet.
Ya, barang bongkaran. Ya murah belanja, mahal jangan dulu. Barang bongkaran, Pak, barang dari kapal. Barang bongkaran, Pak, barang borong-borongan. Barang dari kapal, Pak.
Push a little eastwards and you'll come to Nusa Dua, a picture-perfect haven for well-heeled tourists. Call it an enclave or an exclusive neighborhood. In any case, it's gated and has a tight security. These luxurious surroundings are carefully maintained. Several luxury hotels have sprung up in this corner of paradise, but accommodation is closer to international standards than the island's traditional lodgings. Each hotel tries to outdo the competition with opulence and sheen. Uluwatu is a resort on the southwestern tip of the Bukit Peninsula. It's a favorite among surfers. In the 1970s, many films and surfing magazines featured it for its perfect waves. Today, Uluwatu's international reputation as a surfing paradise just keeps growing. But Uluwatu also attracts visitors who want to see the Pura Luhur Temple, dedicated to the spirits of the sea. It's the most important attraction on this part of the island. Much to the delight of tourists and locals, this is the home to an impressive population of cheeky little monkeys. Celebrations are underway in Sanur, on the east side of the island. This afternoon, the village of Sanur is slated to close the day with its own huge procession. The entire village has been standing outside the temple for several hours now. Women balance the effigies and carefully prepared ceremonial offerings on their heads as they walk along. Despite the weight, the women have disconcertingly graceful strides. Despite the dense crowd, everything seems to flow perfectly, and everyone is in good spirits. Each procession has a perfectly marked path along the sands. Within a matter of minutes, everyone finds their assigned spot. Each dancer here wields a kris, the legendary Balinese dagger with a wavy blade. More prayers, more dancing. The religious fervor sends some participants into a trance, but the priests stand by and channel the ritual bursts of passion. One village has just finished its ceremony and vacates its spot for the village of Sanur, which will close the day with final prayers as the sun sets. In Maz, a hamlet south of Ubud, this crowd can be heard across the plain. The Balinese New Year, Nepi, is a favorite time of year for cockfights, a real passion in Bali. Cockfights are held more discreetly the rest of the year, but today it's an official event. The top teams have come to compete and the crowd is strong. This deceptively disorderly appearance is in fact a highly codified ceremonial cockfight. The stakes are extremely high. Some cock owners even send scouts into the stands to evaluate the competition. Once the contestants are in place, the spectators enter a frenzy of gambling, some betting ridiculous amounts of money. No tickets or tokens here. Everything's based on a code of honor. During the fight, the master of ceremonies makes sure the rules are respected. Each cockfight ends with banknotes quietly changing hands. The bird's blood is gathered for the Tawur Kasanga rituals, which take place the day after the New Year. Although the practice is controversial, its religious justification makes it somehow acceptable. Every village now has its Ogo Ogo statues. It's the final event before Nepi, the big day, the Balinese New Year. The colorful statues represent mythological beings, often demons. The ones we see here are getting their final touches. It will have taken weeks of work to make some of them. The polyester base fits on a light metal frame, for the goal is to keep their weight to a bare minimum to make them easier to handle. The ceremonies will be soon. Heaps of offerings fill the temple, leaving little space. So little that by the time the last prayers are said, worshippers wind up on the street outside the temple. While all eyes are on the Ogo Ogo, the crowd converges on the island's capital city, Denpasar, to attend the main event. Most ride into the city on their scooters, the most popular means of transport on the island. Everyone then gathers on the edge of the park to watch the parade. After several hours of waiting, the Master of Ceremonies lights the torches and kicks off the event. According to the Hindu tradition, the Ogo Ogo represent Bhuta Kala, a destructive evil spirits from nature. The procession must purify the natural environment, purge evil spirits from the pollution created by man. At each intersection, the procession drops offerings to attract these evil spirits. The ceremony stops at nightfall with a deafening crash of cymbals, gongs, and pots to accompany the Ogo Ogo's last trip, for the monsters inevitably go up in flames. The Ogo Ogo ceremony is also a contest, with the winner getting to judge the effigies, but also the group's ability to put on the best show. Music, costumes, staging, showmanship. Each town in the area pulls out all the stops to put on a dazzling show. The technical challenges can be daunting. It's very physical work for everyone. Parades, firecrackers, the city will be noisy late into the night, but on the following day, Nepi, there'll be nothing but silence and meditation. Very little light, no entertainment, and no commuting. Some will spend the day fasting in total silence. Pushing deeper into the island, Ubud offers voyagers an oasis of rice paddies and a cooler climate, an appreciable escape from the intense heat elsewhere. Balinese and foreign merchants have come long here to enjoy the refreshing and pleasant climate. The fine homes they have built overlook the rice paddies. Away from the center is the workshop of Neoman, a painter. The soothing atmosphere is a constant source of inspiration for the dance masks he makes, and which make wonderful souvenirs for passing tourists. Ubud is surrounded by temples that have made the area renowned. The temple of Goa Gaja in Bedalu is curiously half Hindu and half Buddhist. This temple's name translates to English simply, the Elephant's Cave. It's dedicated to the god Ganesh and has a grotto chapel where the faithful come to meditate. Ubud has recently become a popular destination. The rare mix of hedonistic, artistic, and spiritual aspirations give the town its unique flavor. The successful downtown art galleries offer a full spectrum of Balinese culture. Although Bali has been part of the Republic of Indonesia since 1949, the late Raja of Ubud is still respected by the local population. A caste-based society dominated by the Chokodas. Seven brothers and their families still share the royal residence, only a small part of which is open to the public. Ubud is the living memory of traditional Balinese dance. Every day there are shows everywhere. The barong, for example, offers a literal form that features the mythical representations of good and evil. The artist's preparation is long and methodical and requires the help of a large team. Grace and accuracy, mastery of all movements, down to the fingers and the toes. Dance training begins at a very early age. But the dance is merely the prelude to the story that follows. Bali's famed musical ensembles are called gamelan. They bring together, as we see here, the sounds of flutes and percussion instruments like gongs and metallophones. Gamelan has a mix of sounds unfamiliar to most Western ears. Spectators thrill to the plots chock full of kings, princesses, and monsters, and know them all by heart. In Ubud, like elsewhere on the island, dinner is simple and is mainly like tofu on rice with a very spicy peanut sauce. Contributing to Ubud's international reputation is the fine craftsmanship here. Taking a nod from Norman Jawdog and his family, there are now many sculptors who mainly do large pieces in wood and also faces.
The piece I'm working on requires 20 days of carving and finishing work.
Ubud's Samu quarter is hardly different from other places in Bali. Traditional households are made up of several couples from the same family. All ages and all generations share one roof. The temple site here covers a great deal of space. It was built by 7 successive generations. The colorful pavilions standing in pride of place are for ceremonies and ritual dancing. The rest of the common space is shared by the 4 families living here, 14 people in all. At 5 in the morning, Ubud's food market is open and already going strong. A hive of activity where everything is bought and sold in under 2 hours before the heat of the sun spoils the freshness of the produce. Each market stand offers up a note in this symphony of spices and scents. A walk through the exotic farm produce here is a dazzling experience. Balinese cuisine uses spices, vegetables, and plants that give savors and odors that most visitors to the island have never tasted or smelled. Chef Bagiana from the Komaneka shows us some basajede.
A Balinese paste contains shallots, garlic, macadamia nuts, red chili, lemongrass, galangal, ginger, turmeric, finger root, coriander, and shrimp paste. So we take all of these ingredients and we put them in a blender, and then we cook it slowly until it thickens up. We'll mix it with the snapper fillet. We add the Balinese paste,
Westerners often imagine Bali teeming with elephants. Nothing could be further from the truth. North of Ubud, in Taro, the elephant safari park's star attraction. The elephants themselves were brought in from the nearby island of Sumatra. Some needed medical care for serious injuries suffered from poachers. Despite harsh international laws against poaching and constant repression here, the activity continues. Other elephants were rescued from farms or logging operations where they were mistreated. Founded in 2000, the center gradually opened to tourists. Visitors today can enjoy an elephant ride through the cool forest of Taro. A little further away, hidden in the lush Indonesian jungle, is the Gunung Kawi Temple. This 11th century complex of shrines is thought to be a memorial to Anak Wungsu, a Raja of Ubud, his 5 wives, and their children. Carved into the face of the cliff, these rock-hewn shrines and the sacred water flowing in the river inspire reverence. After visiting the first set of chambers, we finally reach the king's shrine. Moving further into the mountains, the vegetation becomes even more luxuriant, enveloping Batur and its sister volcanoes in rich greenery. Make no mistake, the volcanoes lay down the law on this island. North of Ubud, deep in the forest, we find the source of the Sungai Pakarasan River, in the heart of the sacred temple, Tirtha Empul. Tirtha Empul, to the north of Ubud, was built in the year 926. The holy spring, with its purifying pool, occupies most of the site. Legend has it that during the Warmadewa dynasty, the god Indra presented this water with curative virtues as a gift. A divine gift, which today makes it the holiest water in Bali and an essential feature of ceremonies. Families flock here to the purifying waters to receive ablutions from water gushing from the 11 spouts, each representing a commandment of Bali's animist-influenced Hinduism religion. Before nightfall in Ubud, the day closes with a legong, a traditional dance performed daily in front of the royal palace. The Besaki Temple sits at an altitude of over 1,000 meters, the largest and oldest temple on Bali. It's revered as the cradle of the island's history. It has stood here for as long as Bali has ever been known and inhabited. Arms loaded with offerings, whole families come to worship here from all parts of the island. The site is made up of 23 temples. Most are reserved for worshippers, but some are the private property of important families. All through the day, there's a constant stream of people from one temple to another. Although it's perched on the flank of Mount Agung, the site has been spared in each of the volcano's eruptions and remains more than ever the island's spiritual center. On the northeast coast of the island, Semarapura is the former capital of one of the most important kingdoms of Bali's history. It's the home to the Kertagosa Temple. The smaller of the two buildings was for the king's usage on days when he'd come to serve as judge. The stunning frescoes on the interior part of the roof are losing the battle against the ravages of time and climate. The Grand Pavilion of Bali Kambang, often called the Floating Palace, was a private royal residence. On the other side of the island, wind speed and other meteorological conditions set the pace for how people live. When there's lots of fish being sold on the side of the road, it means the fishermen were able to get out. These are parahu, fishing vessels. They generally go out at night. When the weather and the seas are clement, villagers will come out to help dry dock the boats. The maneuver can be dangerous in foul weather. The favorable weather conditions over the past several days have filled the fishing nets. The catch will be shared out among the wholesalers to the nearby markets and to roadside vendors. A temple shrouded in mystery looms over the fishing village of Kusamba. Goalawa, one of Bali's 9 directional temples, protects the island from evil spirits. It's dedicated to Asura, the god of the sea. The intriguing, strange, constant buzzing sound here comes from bats that live here at Goalawa. Simply translates as bat cave. Hundreds of bats hang in impressive clusters from the ceiling of the cave. According to legend, they're nourishment for the giant mythological snake, Naga Basuki, which lives deep in the cave. The site attracts lots of visitors, as it is thought to be a lucky place. A little further away, on the beach, a curious dance is performed day in and day out. Nanga is a salt harvester. He leaves seawater to evaporate on the hot sand, which he gathers up while still damp. He then pours it into his heavy baskets. This sand is tipped into a vat, which drains out the remaining salt water. On a good day, by scraping the water around for hours in the sun, in palm tree trunks carved into gutters, Nanga manages to produce up to 30 kilos of salt.
I pretty much work a full day, all the way from dawn to dusk, from the moment I collect the seawater until the moment I harvest the salt from the tree trunks at the end of the day.
Returning up the coast, northwards, we pass several ports like Ahmed. Fishing sites as well as diving sites attract lots of specialists as well as amateurs. A funeral procession heads to the cemetery for a cremation. First, there's the traditional coffin. Then, the bowl-shaped coffin. The body in the second coffin was a member of the upper-class Chotas caste. Even in the last moments on this earth, the caste system grants privileges and enforces class distinctions. Travelers taking the road inland toward the Agung volcano are always stunned by the sight of the Tirtha Ganga Palace. This vestige of the Raja period was built for Karangasam. It epitomizes the splendor of Bali's legendary era. There's an old Balinese saying, rice is life. As it's the key ingredient in every meal, it's hardly surprising that most of the island's farmlands are paddy fields. Rice is harvested once a year, but a few rainier regions in the center are blessed with 2 harvests. Farmers plant several varieties. One black grain variety is very popular in deserts. Rising in the distance is a menacing silhouette that rarely reveals itself. Mount Agung, one of the island's most fascinating volcanoes. But that fascination is tinged with concern when you realize that the last big eruption of the holy mountain killed 2,000 people in 1963. There's no escaping nature's deadly weapons. Pura Pasar Agung sits at 1,700 meters altitude. It's the last temple on the way to the summit. It's dedicated to Mahe Suara, one of the most ancient gods in Balinese mythology. A little further down is the village of Sidemen, certainly one of the most authentic places on the island, thanks to its inhabitants' choice of maintaining their traditional lifestyle. For example, they've given the task of building habilitation to an eco-tourism association, which takes particular care to ensure no corrugated iron ever replaces the rice-thatched roofs. In this part of the island, the mountain is covered with thick bamboo forests. Prapaturan is called the bamboo village. The roofs of the houses here are still thatched using techniques handed down from countless generations. Motorized vehicles are banned here. Unbelievably appeasing calm reigns here. The place is a wonderland. The homes are very refined. Given the time and the resources, artisans here continue to show off their mastery of ancestral decorative and construction traditions. We take off now for Lake Buratan, in the middle of the island. The Badugal market stands on its shores. The market is greatly appreciated for its farm produce from the nearby mountainsides. At over 1,000 meters altitude, the weather here is ideal for growing cool climate produce that can't be found anywhere else. This produce makes up the ingredients in the splendid layered fruit offerings that every Balinese worshipper brings to the temple. We ask Ketut Samuki to show us what goes into them.
The base is made from bananas and pineapples, Then there's some mangosteen, some orange, some salak, more orange, rambutans, another layer of salak, and at the top, some sweet rice cakes.
Nanas, niki pisang.
Rambutans are easy to open and taste pretty much like a lychee. The oddest fruit is the salak, the serpent's fruit. It peels easily. The flesh is denser and crispier. Ulun Danu, a temple on the shores of Lake Baraton, is an unforgettable sight. The visitor's eye is irresistibly drawn to an isolated pagoda located very close to the water's edge. This sacred place is dedicated to Dui Danu, the goddess of the lake's waters. Before continuing along the Lakeshore Road, we absolutely must stop at the Sacred Monkey Forest Sanctuary. Latitude and climate convene, creating this profusion of spectacular giant ferns and orchids. In the highlands, the terraced paddy fields create a fascinating jigsaw puzzle. The terraces retain water in the soil. As this region is slightly more arid than other parts of the island, the fields only produce one harvest per year. Ancient traditions remain strong in the villages. They've preserved their way of life, far from the crowds of tourists on the southern beaches. There are two key elements in villages' daily life, the market and the scooter. The market is indispensable for supplies and social connections, and the scooter is the most inexpensive means of transportation available. We've reached the northernmost tip of the island, on the western side, where the Menjagan Lagoon faces Java. Until today, Bali has fought tooth and nail to keep its independence and has categorically refused plans for a bridge connecting it to Java. The Taman Bali Barat is the only national park with a conservation program to save the island's incredible biodiversity. One bird reserve has managed, despite a cruel lack of means, to resist the pressure of population growth. Further south on the west coast, Medupi is one of the most popular surfing sites on the whole island. Less well known than Uluwatu, this spot has nevertheless attracted many budding Balinese surfers. They've got the talent, perhaps not the material means though, to compete in top international meets. Tanah Lot is the West Coast's main temple. It too is dedicated to the sea. It draws a regular flow of faithful Balinese worshippers. They alone are allowed to enter and must file past a rocky slab on the far side. People come from miles away, arms laden with live ducks and sophisticated flower arrangements. They have them blessed before taking them back to their village. This ends our New Year's trip to Bali. A fresh look at Balinese life, landscapes, and traditions. A few ancient traditions and tasty recipes revealed. Images of a rich and splendid island.